Hey there everybody, it is Poober here for episode 40 of my Factorio playthrough. I've spent the last couple of episodes and certainly the last couple of weeks it seemed like working on optimizing the base and doing a lot of troubleshooting. But I do want to take a bit of a break from that today and work on something a little bit more fun and certainly still as much of a necessity as all of the other things by working on defense and beautification. We're going to start with the defense aspect of the objective today because, as you can tell, I'm actually getting quite a few attacks recently. And it's been like this ever since the base has been more up and running with a lot of research. So I've been getting attacks up here, kind of in my rail networks and stuff like that, and over here to the right-hand side as well. Even though I'm not 100% sure actually where they're coming from, since I've really done a good job of clearing out a lot of the biter bases. Let's turn on the pollution so you can see maybe we're getting a little bit of pollution over here, maybe a little bit more down to the bottom where I haven't cleared out as well. But I do want to start at least by killing the biters that are of course attacking the base as the #1 priority, because I don't want to get too much of my stuff destroyed, which is always something nice. And then after that, I'm planning on doing a lot of walls around the base. I'm thinking what we'll do is, let's turn that off. Just basically one big square around the entire perimeter of the whole thing. Oh, and there's even more biters down there. So it looks like I'm gonna have to actually add in even more landfill. Gosh, I thought I was already done with that the last time I added in all of the other octagons, but I don't think that will be too terrible, and I do have some landfill already built up, so that shouldn't be too bad. But we'll get the rest of the landfill in and do a nice big square perimeter around the entire thing, and then we can focus on adding in some turrets or what have you, anything that I can think of that might be a good defense, maybe even some landmines, who knows. But first things first, let's go ahead and take care of the biter problem. Check out the new wall. It is brand new and installed finally after quite a couple hours. I was expecting it to go by a lot quicker than it did, but it's now done. It basically consists of substations surrounded by laser turrets all along the perimeter here, surrounded of course by walls on either side. I also have robo coverage, so I can have bots repair the walls and anything that is around it as necessary, and also logistic coverage, so it could bring anything from anywhere in the base to the perimeter walls if needed. So I do feel a lot more secure. I was getting quite a few biter attacks, and now I'm just getting alerts that we're attacking the biters and not so much my stuff getting damaged, which is really nice. You'll see a couple of these yellow blinking lights though, and that is because I've begun to actually install landmines as well. You can see a couple hundred of these are already installed, but I don't know if I'm going to do all 4 sides, because it turns out that just to do the entire length from one side to the other is over 1,200 landmines, so it's pretty expensive, and I definitely don't have that many saved up, so we'll see if it's even worth it. But I figured it might as well be worth it to try at least one side to see how it goes. But for now, that means the boring stuff is done, so now I can start to play around with some of the beautification things I have in mind. The first thing I want to do is add in a couple light artwork pieces. I've got this idea in mind for a cool banner. I've also got a lot of cement that I want to place throughout the base. I don't yet have a good configuration or design in mind for that yet, but I think we'll start with a more fun option, and that will be the lights. So we are here at what will become the future light banner that I have in mind. We are just above the main base, so it's like the perfect spot to have almost like a header or an introduction to the start of the base almost. And it's just conveniently right underneath the satellite. So it's a very important part of the base, and this has been an open spot I've been saving just for this purpose. So the blueprint I have in mind, I believe was gifted to me from Deuces. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it was during a live stream, and it's one that he used in his map, and he's gifted it to me to say, I think it says Poober's base or something like that, but we'll actually see. It's been a while since I've played with it, but it's pretty big, but it's also really impressive, and there's no way in hell I could even possibly explain what any of this does or how it works. So for that, for combinators and advanced circuitry, go ahead and check out Someone else, Deuces, I know is really good at that. Rack Fallon, all you guys are much better at that type of thing than I am. But one thing I do know how to do is at least place the blueprint down. So we'll do that. Hopefully it fits, which it looks like it does not exactly fit. I totally thought I was going to have enough room. I think what I can do, so it looks like the stuff over to the right-hand side is getting in the way of the train tracks over there. You can see it's kind of red over to the very far right in this section over there. But it doesn't look like it's attached to anything on the bottom. So what I think I'll do is see if I can keep the banner like as far down as possible, but for the actual combinators and circuitry stuff, let's see if we can move that over, like shift it over just a little bit more to the left. And hopefully I wouldn't actually screw anything up that way. I guess we'll find out once we turn it on. Let's place it there. I'm so indecisive. We'll take a blueprint of this stuff. Without the tracks in the way, of course. Without that. And then we'll immediately get rid of it, so that the bots don't accidentally fill it in. So where's that filter I want? That one, I believe. So we're getting rid of it at the top here. So that is an easy way to get rid of portions of blueprints that you may not want. Looks like the bots are helping me out and filling in the lights. That is awesome. Do I have full construction coverage too? I do, apart from this section over here, so I can actually help my bots out a little bit. We'll add in that Robo Bay, and now that should cover this bottom left section. All right, so I hope this top section included everything important. I don't know for sure, but it looks like I can get rid of these substations though. Oh, let's get rid of the thingy there. Let's get rid of those. I don't know what to do about this whole train station bit. I wonder if there's somewhere I could move the satellite. In fact, if needed, I could rip up this train station, and I've got this empty lane right here where I could put the satellite train loading area over here. Of course, it wouldn't be quite as you know, symmetrical, because I basically have the output of the satellite coming down and straight into the loader. But I will do what I gotta do to make this light banner thing work. So let's see what we can do though. I might have to be a little bit creative. Okay, so that is how the original was. That's where he had it. It was just like that. So my question is, can I move it down to like here-ish? It looks like, so yeah, the train stop is definitely getting in the way. What to do? What should I do? I can't move that down any lower. I guess I do have an empty station or an empty lane over here as well. Okay, I think that's decided. I'll have to move the satellite train loading area. Not the biggest deal in the world. It's definitely not my first choice. My first choice would be just to have everything fit nicely. But since that's not going to happen, let me go ahead and move this, and then we'll get back to the lights after that's done. Well, I begrudgingly ended up moving that train station. It is now over here to the top left. Oh, and why am I getting attacked? Oh, I'll respond to that in just a second here. But before we get to that, I do want to see now if we can fit the upper half and the complicated half, basically, of the banner light thingy here. So the upper half blueprint is this one. And if you guys remember, it was kind of overlapping into the train tracks. So what I want to do is have it more centered. to make sure that I can fit everything in that it would need. So let's do that maybe right. Let's do there, I think. The tricky part, of course, will be getting everything connected up where it needs to be, because, of course, in the original blueprint, everything is already wired up, but now I would have to manually add in the wires connecting the top half to the bottom half, which what I plan on doing is just kind of looking over the original blueprint. I know he's got some wires connecting the substations and stuff up here, so hopefully I can study that well enough and get it to work. So we'll be back once we are ready to turn this all on. Okay, it is installed. So moment of truth. All we have to do is turn it on. If it doesn't work, that means I screwed up something. There's even a convenient arrow in the blueprint so you know exactly where to go amongst all of these combinators and stuff like that to get this turned on. So I believe all you have to do is go from off or on to off and then back on again. Crap. Let's try attempt number 2 now. I think all I'm missing, hopefully, is just a little bit of wiring. Is it working? No. Or wait, hold on. Come on. Shoot. Alright, let's do one last try. This will be attempt number 3. I think there's a couple wires I'm still missing. I studied the blueprint a little bit more. So let's see. So I think that was connected to these guys over here. Hopefully. Hopefully I've got that right. And then this thing needs to be connected up to these combinators as well. And I think that's a red line. Moment of truth. It is working. Awesome. Welcome to Poober's server. That's great. I am so thrilled I was able to figure that out, and we were able to do that and still make it more aesthetically pleasing by making it more symmetrical and even and fitting in this nice area. So I'm glad I didn't really have to do any more accommodations than what we already did. So hopefully that is the most complicated project of the night. The next thing I have in store will be a lot less complicated. At this point, I want to worry about getting some cement around the base. Well, I've got a bunch of cement headed my way, but I figure since we are kind of hanging out here where we just made the banner, I guess this is also a good place to start with the cement, and then we can make this really a nice looking area. I definitely want to get rid of this awful contrasting green ground that's really contrasting with the desert and stuff like that, and we'll make it look a little bit more modern, I think, kind of more factory-ish, which I hate the idea of it looking too sterile. So I've got a bunch of different types of ground with me. Not really sure where to start, except I just plan on kind of experimenting. These two, though, that I'm hovering over are definitely the most expensive, so if I do use them, I need to be very mindful about where. So if anything throughout the base, I'll probably use the more expensive flooring to the smaller surface areas like the squares around the base, and then I don't imagine that I would ever have enough time more than anything. I'm sure if I gave it enough time, I would have enough products eventually, but I don't want to devote all of my time worrying about filling in every single octagon or the bulk of every octagon. So I think for starters, we'll at least do the squares, or at least the important squares for now. And like I said, we'll start here. So let's start with this. I haven't really played with this one much. One nice thing, since they've added in these new floor tiles, is that they have a bit of a different texture to it than like base game, or at least pre-patch. Okay, I'm just winging it here. I kind of like the idea of having a border, kind of like just replacing all of the stuff that's green. And what if we were now to do, ooh, something like that? Or maybe I need something more contrasting. Let's scratch that. Can I just get rid of the floor tiles, please? No. Great. No. But I can just get rid of it. Or I suppose I could just build over it and then I would get it back eventually anyway. So let's see. Let's do over. Let's try this instead. Let's see, is that what I wanted? Let's get rid of this stuff here in the corners. There we go. So what if now... Oh, I don't like that. I want kind of a change in texture. Oh. Oddly, I know this one is not quite as expensive, but I like that texturing a little bit better. Okay, I think we are onto something. Hopefully I don't get run over in the process. And maybe what I could do is just replicate. So we've got this standard kind of design for the yellow and black hazard looking tile. Maybe we could duplicate that. So replicate it here going from straight left to right. So we could do that pattern there, and then basically that will cover all of the green areas, kind of like a border. And then we'll actually grab this one, and then it will kind of look like it's dipped down a little bit. Whoops, no, not like that. I think we're onto something. Yeah, I like that a little bit better. So I hope you guys can kind of see my vision. I know it's a little bit hard to tell. Whoops, wrong one. I keep grabbing the wrong tile. But I imagine if we duplicate this all the way around, it should look pretty nice. Basically continue that configuration that way, top to bottom. We'll continue the kind of diamond pattern left to right as well, and then fill in the rest with just regular cement. So that way it's a little bit more contrasting than just the hazard looking tiles that we've been running so far throughout the whole base. We haven't used any of just the regular gray concrete. So it will provide a little bit more of a difference, but I think still hopefully look pretty good. So let me see if I can basically get this working on a grander scale, and then I will be back once it is done. And here is how it turned out. I ended up really liking it. I think it's a healthy balance of looking a little bit more polished without looking as sterile as I was hoping. So I'm really glad with that, but I'm also really pleased with how the banner turned out as well. So thank you again to Deuces for loaning me and modifying your banner that you use in your base to help me with my server. So I really do appreciate that, but even more, I would appreciate you guys for telling me your feedback about what you think about the aesthetics of the base at this point, and give me your feedback in general. I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. But for now, we're going to go ahead and call this an episode. I do still have a lot of other things planned though, so this will not be the end of the series. We still have more things to do. Of course, I want to bring the rockets per minute and the science per minute as close to 5 rockets or 5,000 science per minute as possible. Right now, I'm still hovering around 2.07 rockets per minute at the most recent time, and my FPS and UPS is dipping about 26, it looks like, FPS and UPS as an average. So I've got more things to do, but until then, I hope you guys will continue to stick around.